Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Thank you very much for tuning in this morning. I want to say a big shout out straight away. The biggest ever live stream in terms of concurrent viewers we've ever had on the Football Terrace last night. 4,380 is where we peaked. So I just want to thank everybody that came on last night, all the new subscribers, somewhere in the region of welcome back, somewhere in the region of 600 to 700 new subscribers just off the back of last night's show. So massive thank you to all of you that have made that possible by hitting like buttons, hitting share buttons, etc. The community of the Football Terrace continues to grow. On that community, make sure you get over right now to Flick. It's the extension of our YouTube channel. Loads of great conversations, polls, news articles, and banter going on over there. You can download it for free within our description below. Get that done for me after this stream, and that would be amazing. Chelsea have all but agreed and completed a deal for Ben Chilwell, according to reports coming directly out of Leicester yesterday. What I will say about this deal, on Monday, we will be doing an interview with Sam Martin, who is the individual that broke this news, that said that he has been informed that Ben Chilwell himself has packed his bags and he's ready for a medical at the early part of next week. Now, remember, if a player is packing his bags and is scheduling for a meeting, that means there is almost a total agreement or the deal is almost complete. But in terms of Chelsea and Leicester and the player and his representatives, it feels very much as though the deals for those individual elements have been done. It is now down to legalities, medicals, to cross the T's and dot the I's to get this deal over the line. And the interesting element with this Ben Chilwell deal, by the way, you can call up on Skype. We are accepting Skype calls this morning. And I want to speak to Chelsea fans about this because the abuse, fair play, Twitter have removed a lot of it before I had a chance to capture it. But I've seen some in the newspapers. The volume of Chelsea fans that have been on social media abusing Ben Chilwell, I find it to be absolutely abhorrent. The disrespect you're sort of projecting towards him, the disregard for your manager that you supposedly all rate, is an absolute disgrace to Chelsea Football Club and a disgrace to football. It's an embarrassment. And I think it was very good to see yesterday a lot of, by the way, more Chelsea fans than what were attacking Ben Chilwell coming out to his defense, telling his people to stop. It was excellent to see actually a bit of self-policing going on. But I thought it was very, very telling, the type of people that are out there. But Ben Chilwell to Chelsea looks all but certain. And no disrespect, this is very much what Henry Winter and Matt Laws both said 3 or 4 weeks ago. They said that's who Lampard wants. That is who Chelsea are going after. No one quite knows the price of this player yet. I've seen reports range from 50 million all the way up to 80 million pounds. Nobody has an idea. Nobody knows exactly how much it's going to be. What we do know when it comes to Ben Chilwell is you're looking at a pretty good football player. You're looking at a man that can defend, he can get forward, he can cross. And I feel that moving to a team like Chelsea with the style of football that Frank Lampard is developing there, I think he will be an exceedingly interesting tool, an improvement on Emerson, an improvement on Alonso, defensively especially. And I think Frank Lampard, you know what? He's had a very good season. He's had a very good season. His first year at the elite level of the game. He's done an excellent job. And as I've said, deserves nothing but absolute praise. Thus, back his transfer decisions. Ginger Fury 97 here with a super chat says, how did Chelsea spend and comply with financial fair play rules? Well, Chelsea didn't spend anything over the summer of 2019 and January 2020. And they, of course, their income remained the same, barring, of course, CV19. And they had an additional amount of income due to players that they sold. So they have that money sitting there in terms of income and that they're able to spend. So their turnover is higher because of the sales. Equally, there are a lot of feelings within football that for the next couple of years, FFP is going to be relaxed. There are some that feel that FFP is going to potentially be altogether scrapped because of the debacle with Manchester City. So, and Chelsea aren't stupid. Chelsea are going to also be raising money this year as well. So they're going to have big outgoings, but they'll have big incomings as well. The Bakayoko deal is going to raise them around £30 million as an example. They are going to sell players also. So not that I believe in net spend in the myopic term of it being in one particular summer or 2 or 3 years, but they will raise, remember, clubs spend a percentage of their income and they will raise themselves 50, 60, 80, 90 million pounds of income over the next year or so through the sale of players. The likes of Willian and Pedro that were on big money at Chelsea leaving injects new funds into the football club. So I think the financial fair play element is not going to be an issue at all. Will Taylor here says, this abuse is disgusting. I'm disgusted as a Chelsea fan. We must back the player. And more importantly, we must back Frank Lampard. That is Will Taylor. And you are absolutely right. By the way, Chelsea fans that are having a go, these aren't real Chelsea fans. And we have them at all football clubs now. They're fans of particular players that, you know, they're little spoiled sort of, I call them basement dwellers. Basement dwellers. You know, they sit at home in their mum's house. They'll still be at home in their mum's house at 40. Not sitting there saving for their own house or building their career, just sitting there in their pants, you know what I mean, doing nothing, screaming at their mum to go make them a milkshake. This is going to be these people. Don't take them too seriously. Condemn them. Stick together as a fan base and move on. We've got a Skype call now. You've muted yourself, though. Live, I'm going to try and pronounce your name, is the Cancer. I think that's how you pronounce it. What do you want to say?
Venkatesh, thanks for having me.
There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's not how it reads on here. But yeah, who do you support, buddy?
Yeah, I do support Chelsea.
Lovely. What's your thoughts on the signing of or the imminent signing of Ben Chilwell?
Yes, we do want a new left back, and I'm happy that we are getting an English left back. But there is definitely concern about the price.
What's your concern about the price?
I really think that we could probably, if the deal is around 60 million to 80 million euros, then I think we could probably split that into getting Tagliafico and Onana instead of just getting one player.
But what if Ollie doesn't want those players?
Lampard.
Sorry. So I was reading something about Ollie. What if Lampard doesn't want those players? Should you not, as Chelsea fans who think he's good enough, simply?
No. I agree. I mean, I understand why Lampard thinks he wants Chilwell, because he is still young. He's 23, and even if he doesn't do well, he can still sell him and probably make a profit. But yeah, if Chilwell comes here for 40 million or 30 to 40 million, I would definitely take him over Alonso and Emerson. And I think it'll be interesting to see if, who stays, whether it is Alonso or Emerson, because Alonso is 29, 30, but Emerson is 26, 27. So it'll be interesting to see who actually stays back for me.
Yeah, I get that. And in terms of Chilwell, what is it you like about him? What do you think? Where do you think his main attributes are?
I think he's good at. Going forward, but I am not really sure what his attributes are in terms of defending. I haven't watched him too much, so I cannot really say if he is an Ashley Cole region. But I like to point that even Ashley Cole is a big fan of Ben Chilwell, and if Ashley Cole and Lampard says they need him, I think that's why they're giving him. But I think the price will definitely, we can use an extra defender or maybe even a goalkeeper. But nothing else. I'm not too concerned about his football game, but it's just the price, especially given if he's trying to get Harvard as well.
Yeah, but Chelsea are not going to spend money that they don't have. That they're not stupid in that way, as far as I'm concerned. When it comes to Chelsea, I think I just don't think they are. I think they'll do the right type of business. As an example, it's one of those ones for me. But listen, I appreciate your call, mate. Thank you very much for coming on. We'll chat again soon. Alex here says, will Chilwell be able to defend? That's a weakness that Chelsea have. Well, I mean, no disrespect to the previous call. I said he doesn't really watch Chilwell, and I get that sense from a lot of Chelsea fans that they haven't really watched very many Ben Chilwell games. We've got Tyrone on the show. Tyrone, what do you want to say, my guy?
I believe we would be better off saving that money on Chilwell and going for Tagliafico and getting a decent keeper and a centre back, because that's what we need. I don't think Chilwell, he's going to be good for the future and he'll probably be England's #1 left back, but we need to save money because how much is that cost us? 80 to 90 million. We need to save money.
Why do you need to save money?
Because of CV19, we're not as rich as we once were. Like, you look at City, PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona, they're all rich, so they could afford, and United in that bracket, you can all spend that money. We're not as rich as we once were.
Right. But you are. You know, we find out you've got a year of not spending money. We've got TV money coming out our backsides. Financial fair play is going to be relaxed. They've pretty much confirmed that. Chelsea Football Club are not going to spend money that they don't have. That they never have done. And also Chelsea have got this wonderful way of selling their you have to admit this. Chelsea can sell Chelsea, the only football club I've ever seen who can sell their bang average flops for big money.
Exactly. Like Bakayoko, we paid 30 million for him and we're going to get that money back for him. So that Marina, whatever he's called, she deserves big credit for what she does with the players that she sold. Look at Morata. We paid 70 million on him, and yet we got back 50 million for him. So she knows what she's doing. She don't get the credit that she deserves, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, but you've just had a go at her.
No, I'm not having a go at her. I'm just saying that.
But you just said she does a great job, and then your question: we shouldn't waste our money, or we shouldn't spend too much. She isn't going to do that.
Do you think Chilwell's worth the money then?
It depends how much. We don't know how much it's going to be yet. There are too many contrasting sort of reports out there as an example. But from my point of view, I think Ben Chilwell is very, very, very talented. I think he's an excellent player. I just want to break something down for people here. I've just done the numbers while we're talking live. So we compare him to Tagliafico, that everybody's telling it is just outright better. And the way people talk about him in comparison to Ben Chilwell is that there is a huge difference. Over the last 5 seasons, as an example, and by the way, you know, in Europe, it's 4 goals for Chilwell, 6 for Tagliafico, 10 assists for Chilwell, 8 for Tagliafico. Crossing accuracy, actually, Tagliafico appears better, 39% versus the 25% of Chilwell. Dribbling success, 49% and 51% respectively. Interceptions, okay? Ben Chilwell in that same time, 506, Tagliafico 327. Defensive duels won. Chilwell 65%, Tagliafico 62%. Creation, so chances created in the same amount of minutes, 82 by Ben Chilwell, 61 by Tagliafico. That is statistics. You now then need to watch both these players. Have I watched Tagliafico play with an eagle eye? No, I haven't. But there is just, interestingly for me, I've sat here this morning. I've watched the defensive duels of both. I watched the interceptions of both. I watched the crossing of both. For me, there isn't a significant. The only difference is that one seems more exotic and more exciting because he plays on the continent, and the other is, he's coming from boring Leicester. What's he going to do for us? I think Ben Chilwell is an excellent player. The benefit you have with Ben Chilwell is you know that he can do it. You know he can do it here. And I think that's an element. And like I said, but Premier League proven doesn't mean because he's English. Premier League proven means he's done it here. It's like when you signed Ashley Cole. Ashley Cole was a great player for you. But one of the biggest elements was he'd already played here as an example, you know, and I think that's really, really important. Mate, Tyrone, I appreciate you coming on and calling the show. Alex Williams here of another super chat says, money is not everything. How much was Chicharito to? I think it was about 8 or 9 million, something like that. We've got Ade on the show next. Before that, Dinesh super chat says, Terry, when is Kieran Maguire coming back on the Football Terrace? Good show yesterday with the Coppish. I actually was meant to have him on recently, but it never came to fruition just due to my timeline and his, but we'll get that done. Ade, welcome back to the show, my bro. What you saying?
I'm good, bro. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, my friend. What do you want to say?
Like, I'm a Chelsea fan.
Good man. What's your thoughts on Ben Chilwell?
It's high time we Chelsea fans has to agree with our coach. We can't be teaching him what to do, because if we end up getting Tagliafico or the other guy, not Chilwell, and he ends up flop, we will still put the blame on him that he cannot improve him. He said he wants Chilwell. And for the first time, the board has agreed with him, okay, we are getting you Chilwell. Whether it's 80 million or 70 million, if it is what we truly need, we should go for it. We can't build the team all in one season. We need goalkeeper, yes, we know. We need a top defender, yes, we know. And a left back. We all agree. But at least we have to give him time. They will get this deal done one after the other. I believe Chilwell is going to be a great player for us because he has a lot of potentials. Because I've been watching him for like 2 seasons after Leicester won the league. The guy has been awesome. He only came down due to this lockdown. You cannot believe that he's not really in the team anymore. He wants to move out. He wants to go to a better team. And the opportunity has come for him, and I believe it's going to be a great signing for Chelsea. He might even surpass more expectation than the likes of Ziyech and the rest. He might be the one that will just lay you down at that left back for at least 10 seasons, and it's going to really help Pulisic in improving his own games, because a good wing back like that, a good left back like that can run from both offensively and defensively. And with Lampard as a great coach, is going to help him. So I believe we should all agree with Lampard on this one. For me, it's just better. It's a wonderful signing for me because I really like the guy.
No, mate, listen, I hear you on that. And I think, of course, there are going to be elements of Tagliafico or Telles's game or other left backs that people prefer. But it's about supporting your manager's decision and seeing how things go. Now, I'm having people say here, Leicester fans are saying he's overrated. Yeah, Leicester fans said that Maguire was overrated when he was about to leave. Prior to that, they were telling us he was one of the best in the league. From my point of view, like I've always said, let's judge a player on his performances and how well he does. I appreciate you coming on, my friend. I'll chat to you again soon. Thank you, Ade. Enjoy your day, sir. Right. Cheers, my brother. And that's it. Listen, Leicester fans will do that. Leicester fans will come out with, he's overrated, he's this, he's that. Trust me, most clubs do that when a player leaves. Look at the way some people are treating Willian now. He's gone Arsenal. He's a waster. He's retired. Blah, 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 blah. He's a brilliant player for you. Alex Williams of another super chat here says, with all these players, what happens to the youth? Well, we kind of know what's going to happen to their youth. By the way, Jem and David, try calling us back. We'll get you on the air next time you call through, my friends. But look, as I say, some people are going to prefer Tagliafico. Can he do it in the Premier League? Not sure. With Chilwell, I think you pay the extra to have a player that can perform at this level. He's got youth on his side at just 23 years of age. Frank Lampard backs him. I think he's more than good enough to improve Chelsea on that left-hand side, both defensively and going forward. I wouldn't have any kind of concerns at all about him. Is he as good at crossing the ball? Is he as good at dribbling as Tagliafico? No. But it isn't that isn't the only element as a football player that I think is important. I think there are other elements to that too. So you look at the fact that, I'm looking at this season alone here. He gets more interceptions per game. His defensive duel percentage wins are slightly lower, but we would all probably agree that the Premier League is a much tougher league than the Dutch leagues. I find it really interesting. I find it really interesting that people are just so dismissive of that. It's like the Premier League's the best league around when it suits people's purposes. But when it doesn't, it's like, well, he's got better statistics. Chilwell's statistics are on par, and some are better than Tagliafico in a much tougher league, if you like statistics. The eye test, we've already had people phone the show and moan about Ben Chilwell and then say they don't watch him play. I find it absolutely comical. Monstar CFC is on the show now. My guy, what are you saying? Monster, are you there, bro? No, mate, try calling back. There's no sound coming through, which is very, very strange. Actually, no sound at all coming through. David, are you there, mate? David?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes, so I think we have some problems. Yes. What do you make of what people are saying so far on today's show, bruv?
For me, it's literally just the price. I don't have a problem with the player. That's not my problem. It's just that I don't want us signing a left back for 70 million,
right?
And then he doesn't plan out him getting just getting abused, because you've already seen it from our fans already. He's not even our player yet, and they're already starting to beef him for it. And it's not him deciding the transfer as well. I just don't want him being under so much pressure from the start.
Then your job as a Chelsea fan is to police your own and push back against these Chelsea fans and be positive. the price is going to be the price. The price is it's about what he does in a shirt. It's about what he does. Buying top talent from other Premier League teams is always going to be expensive. Ben Chilwell's Britishness or Englishness, it isn't really a factor as such. It's more to do with the fact that he's Premier League proven. It's a commodity in that way. You know, if you know that somebody is going to be able to deliver in the Premier League because they've done it before, there's a much lower risk of the signing failing. And because there's a less risk of the signing failing, the sporting potential and the sporting improvements of your team is higher. And that is one of the biggest key drivers. It's more likely, because history shows us this, that a signing from the Dutch leagues is going to fail than the signing of a successful player from a Premier League team. Yes, I know you guys had Torres, but you signed a man that had more hamstring injuries than Michael Owen and Phil Jones put together. But I think that as a general rule, when you sign top talent from other Premier League teams, there is a high success rate in terms of maintaining those levels. As you know, as I put out there, I feel there is. I haven't got any statistical evidence. That's purely a hypothesis and a view that way. But looking at it this season, right? You know, Chilwell's created more chances. You know, he better defensive duels, better interceptions. The only thing that's different is the accuracy of his crosses, and his dribbling is not as good. But outside of that, as a football player, he defensively is stronger, and he's doing it. And I think we'd all agree. I think all three of us, Gem's on here, Monstar's on now. You all would agree that the Premier League is a tougher league to play in than the Dutch league.
100%.
So,
and
I don't really get the issue with Ben Chilwell.
On top of that, he's also like, regardless of the price, he will be like, no Chelsea fan can sit here and tell me he's not an upgrade on what we already have.
No, and I agree with that 100%. But it is disgusting how the fans have reacted, and I don't condone it. At the end of the day, we all have, as fans, have the right to have our own opinion on who we believe should come in and not. But it all falls down to Frank Lampard, and you should just show him the support. At the end of the day, he's gone and bought someone that's played, you know, in the Premier League for a long time now. Do you know what I mean? So, and yes, he's an upgrade on what we've already got, and potentially he can only get better. You know, he could get better. You know, I just think we look at it as a sort of as a problem because of his value. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. I just think we just need to be. You just need to back the manager, David. Man, do you know what I mean?
I get that. Monstar, are you on, bro?
Yeah, I am.
We can hear you now, bro. Yeah, what do you make of this? I mean, as I said, I know I told you guys offline last night that I've got an interview coming up on Monday with Sam, who broke this news, and he's very. But what I would say about Sam Martin is this: he's very forthright in saying he is not a journalist. You know, he's a football fan that runs a podcast, but he's also very open about he has some very well connected individuals. It sounds to me like this deal was very close to happening. Medicals on the way. You've had sort of 12 hours of sleep on this decision. What do you make of it, mate?
I think, obviously, if I'm being honest, he's not my first choice. But I back Lampard's decision all the way. If Lampard says that's who he wants, then that's who we should get. It's a simple. We've complained for so many years that, you know, Mourinho, Antonio Conte, they didn't get players they wanted. Now Lampard's getting players he wanted. What's the problem? Is it because he's English or what? What is it?
Mate, I have to be honest with you. I do think there is an element here. Just look at all clubs that get linked with English players. There is such a toxic feel to it. People, and I think it's with everything that's gone on in the world in the last 4 to 5 years, and I'm talking politically, there seems to be an issue with English players. The abuse they take is astronomical. The amount of times their nationality gets brought up, I find it staggering. This is because he's that, and I've got an issue with people that bring up any type of immutable about another individual. Do you get where I'm coming from? Like when I talk about players not succeeding in the Premier League, I'm talking about the league that they've played and come from. I'm talking about their attributes as an individual. You know, Veron and Forlan didn't fail in the Premier League because of their passport, because of their ethnicity, because of their nationality. It was their attributes as football players weren't akin to the Premier League. The same as we've seen English players that have been brilliant here go abroad and it not work for them. And sometimes it isn't even their attributes as a footballer. Sometimes it's just adapting to a culture in a new country. But but people, English players are overrated. You hear this all the time. It's like they're not overrated. They're just spoken about more because you're watching the English league via English television channels, where the vast majority of the audience of those English television channels are English, that have a national interest. I've said it before. I don't care about Liverpool Football Club in real terms, but I do care about Trent, because Trent's my national right back. He plays for my country. So as much as I kind of wanted to, you're always in this. So I support England. So I do. So did I want Gerrard to be in good form as we're going into a World Cup? Of course I did. Like, if you're an England fan, you want your country to win. You don't want your players to do badly. So you have a national interest, and you've got tens of millions of fans of English football in this country who don't support a top 6 Premier League team, but they want to hear about the top players coming through, because, you know, all my brothers are Leyton Orient fans. They care about what's going on with the England development, because I find it staggering. Like I've always said, if you go and watch South Korea's version of Match of the Day, I guarantee you, Son's the biggest star they always talk about, and I guarantee you they talk about the English players less than anybody, or they spread the conversation around the international players from their perspective around, because there isn't the necessity to focus on them. But if you went to, if you watch the Match of the Day's version in Nigeria, I guarantee you the likes of Ian Acho and Ndidi are the crowning jewels. Igalo are the crowning jewels that get the focus on them. You know, whenever Man United play, I guarantee their TV shows focus on what Igalo does when he comes on, because the country cares. It's just normal. I find it staggering that people have such dense brains that they cannot comprehend this for a single second, and they turn it into a culture issue. It's like, hang on, football isn't about that. You know, I find it honestly, it upsets me. It really, really does.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I feel, and, you know, I've said this before, I think Chilwell will succeed at Chelsea if Chelsea can manage to get a holding sitting DM and another centre back. I think if they get Rice and another centre back, I think you will see a different side to Chilwell that you've never seen. You know,
are we going to have the same problem though with Declan Rice? Like, if we sign him for say 50 million, are we going to have the same problem with the fans and everyone moaning again because he's English?
Most probably.
No, but you see, the thing is, right? Declan Rice is actually like he's far more liked than Chilwell, and also he's got the link with Mason Mount, and we all know our fans love Mason Mount. So,
do you know what I find really interesting about it? Barring Czech and Drogba, like Chelsea's greatest ever team's core is English. But yet, and so many of these fans fell in love with Chelsea that don't like the. And again, by the way, there are English people that don't like the English kind of focus on the television and the newspapers. This is it's across the board. It's like, for me, I know a lot of people don't like the countries they're from, especially in the West, but I can differentiate the politics of my country from my football team, because then for me they're not one of the same. You know, I differentiate. Like, I do know, because we've all had chats off air. I do know sort of the ethnic backgrounds of you, man, that are on now, but I don't judge you based on that. I judge you based on the type of person you are on the show. I'm not like, Jem's got Turkish descent, so he's going to be this particular way. Do you know what I mean? It's just nonsense, and I just hate it. I find it. I hate the hierarchy system to it. I hate the hierarchy system to it, where it's like it's wrong to mention this person's ethnicity or their nationality because of the country they're from, but it's okay to punch in this direction. I think it makes football a very toxic and nasty and horrible place. It all needs to be rejected. I want more of these famous YouTubers, famous television pundits, famous journalists to push back on anybody. I want social media, when people start talking about any type of immutable, you block and you eradicate these people, because for me, they just make the football conversation should be fun, incisive sometimes, intellectual others, but most of all, it should be fun. You know, we all grew up at school. You banter your friends. This was never going on 10 years ago. Nobody ever cared about where a player was from, other than other than having an understanding of where he's from a national point of view. No one cared. If it was, we're signing Ronaldo, where's he from? He's Portuguese, great. If you'd have said he was Spanish, Italian, or from Outer Mongolia, I wouldn't have cared. It's just, I find the whole thing an absolute madness. We've got a couple of super chats here, boys. It says here, sure, a comparison between Lampard and Bruno, best season and most Lampard goals. Sorry, Alex, I don't really get the context of your comment here. Most goals were pens. No one. Oh, okay. Saying that when Lampard had a big season scoring goals and scored lots of penalties, no one called him Penpard. It doesn't quite work. But yeah, but they would have done now. If Lampard was playing now, he would get that kind of label. Like everything you see modern day footballers get labeled with, if social media was as potent and as widespread then as it is now, this same stuff would have happened. Like, trust me, If it just would. I mean, can you imagine Chelsea fans during your sort of your Phil Scolari days, what you'd have been like on socials, or VS Boas? It would have been so toxic. It would have been a madness, brother. It would have been a madness in terms of them. But we were actually going to talk about another story we haven't even gone to yet. Man United have supposedly come to an agreement for Filip Stefanovic, a young lad playing for Partizan. I spent a little bit of time looking at this kid this morning. Really talented 17-year-old. Like, I was genuinely shocked at how skillful and how talented he was. But just to sort of temper everybody, he's a young Serbian lad, but he is going to go back on loan for the whole of next season. Plays on the left-hand side, predominantly right-footed, but I just watched like some of his goals and assists. Boy can ball on both feet. Really interesting signing. That's all I can say on the guy. I've watched a bit of footage. Y-Scout's brilliant for that. It is going to be Man United's first official summer signing, but it made me die when I saw it because I was like, it's really going to trigger Man United fans that this guy's the first one. But I thought I'd try and wind United fans up, but then I thought I'd steer clear around. I thought we couldn't sign a player when we were all focusing on Sancho. I thought we only focus on one player at a time. It did make me giggle that we've done this little backup guy for next season, but there we go. Anything else on your minds, gentlemen?
Yeah, I wanted to say football fans need to be patient. You know, the Sancho and the Kai Havertz deals, they're not going to get done, you know, in a week, or they take time. I've been telling people on Twitter, just be patient. It's going to happen. Just be patient. But, you know, everyone just wants it now.
Mate, the world of instant gratification. I was having a chat with someone the other day, and they said to me, like, they don't live in a fairy tale. And I kind of like that expression in terms of we all want things. I want X, Y, and Z to be the end result of what's going on now. But I think sometimes we all do this, where we live in this fairy tale and we're like, oh, it's gonna happen, and it's gonna happen exactly the way I want, in the timing that I want. It's gonna be announced how I want. It's gonna look how I want. I'm sorry to break it to people. Life doesn't work that way. The only thing we have control of in this entire world is our attitude. That is it. When you break it down and get to the nth degree and core, nothing is controllable. Nobody's controllable. Nothing's controllable. The only thing that you have control over is how you react to a situation. And what I find with football fans is if it doesn't go how they want in the order they want, they go crazy. And then on top of that, they can't handle banter. I'm relaxed about the Sancho situation. I know you freaks, we've had many chats about Kai Havertz, are relaxed as well. You know that it takes time. You know that it's going to take weeks of negotiations, lots of legalities to get these deals done and through. Plus, I think the whole of world football is waiting for a big deal to kind of set a precedent post COVID-19. But then you get all these stories, United's deal is dead, and then you got fans. Like I've said, Man United could sign Sancho tomorrow for £75 million. Rivals will find a way of making that negative. If you're a weak person as a Man United fan, you'll buy into that and go, it's still crap. Like, I've seen people all day saying, United have got to look at Bayern Munich and all these young players. They play brilliant football. They're the best team in Europe. I'm like, yeah, did you see them get battered last year, but a year ago in football terms by Liverpool? They weren't the best team in Europe by a stretch last year. 1 year later, after trusting their process, allowing their young players to develop, yes, making a few more signings along the way, they've become one of the best teams in Europe again. And this is the point. That's patience. Patience gets you there. If Bayern Munich last year, after getting beat by Liverpool, just upended everything and started again because the fans were crying and bitching because it weren't going how they wanted in the manner and time they wanted, they wouldn't be where they are now. There needs to be more. And I've been guilty of this. And only as I've got older, I've realized it. My biggest mistakes I've made in my life, personally and professionally, have been a lack of patience and not waiting for the opportunity and thinking that I deserve it now and not thinking outside the box. You're absolutely right, Monster. Sorry to go off on a tangent there, but it's something that I think young people especially need to get into their heads. Otherwise, they're going to have very painful and stressful lives.
Yeah,
I think worry as for a Chelsea fan is the fact that we signed Kepa for 70 million and he flopped. Now, if we go and sign Chilwell for 80 million, I'm not saying he's going to flop, but if he does, and we spend that kind of money on a left back, we're just going to get ruined. And I think that's what Chelsea fans are worried about. Just, you know,
Well, it's what David just said. That David is worried, maybe not for him personally, but he's worried about the banter. He's worried about the backlash if it goes wrong. But yeah, but that's just the risk you have to take. That's what we've got to understand. I said this last year, and CV19 has slowed this down somewhat, but nobody with a working class brain like me predicted what was going to happen. I think most of us, when we first heard about CV19, thought it was going to be another bird flu, swine flu, Ebola thing that we all forgot about in 2 or 3 weeks. We've all learned from that now. But next time one of these happens, watch that toilet roll go again, boys. It's going to be gone in days. Like, seriously, I'm just going to keep stocked up now in case it happens. But you've got this element of transfers are going that direction. I said about Harry Maguire that in 4 or 5 years' time after the signing, his signing would seem good value for money, because transfers are going to get to 70 to 80 to 90 million is going to become the normality. Why? Because clubs have gone from turning over 200 million a year to turning over 500-600 million. That's only going to increase more when these digital companies, the Amazons and the Facebooks and the YouTubes, start buying up. You know, in 2 or 3 years' time, Sky won't operate like it does. It's all going to be streaming. Then the money's going to be much higher. So suddenly you'll go for a point where teams are getting 150 million a year in domestic TV money. It's going to be 210, 220, 230. All that means in real terms is a player that today costs 50 million is going to cost 90 million. You know, as Man United and you know, as Liverpool signed this new sponsorship deal, one of the biggest ever with Nike, all the sponsorship deals will increase that way. All of those sponsorship deals will start to include 20-25% merchandise clauses, because the clubs are like, hang on, Nike are doing it for them, we want it. That means all the clubs will earn more money. What does that mean in the transfer market? All the foreign teams and all the teams of smaller ilk that are not getting that level of income, how they get it, how they get their piece of that pie is by increasing the price of the players that you want and that you need. And then a player that's 20 million becomes 40 million, a player that's 80 million becomes 110 million, and vice versa. And you might look at the Chilwell deal when he retired. Like right now, when Wayne Rooney was signed for 27 million, the same reaction was there of, that's extortionate. Imagine signing a Mason Greenwood or an Mbappe right now for 27 million pound. But back then it seemed an exorbitant, a criminal amount of money to spend. It was criminal, and that will happen again. When I want to say it was Trevor Francis, it might have been Jerry Francis, the first £1 million player in the UK happened. There was absolute outrage. How dare somebody spend £1 million on a player? How dare somebody do that? Is what the British press said. The British public said. Imagine that now. You spend £1 million on a League One player, Championship player. You know, it's relative. In 10 years' time, you will see £80 million will be normal. You'll be, 80 mil, that's good. And that'll be because the clubs are turning over £1 billion a year. And it's relative. You know, Man United right now, I don't know about Chelsea, I don't know about, I've read it in United. We spend about the same percentage of our turnover on players now as we did 20 years ago. It's just we earn more money now. And that's how that's how economy works. When I was a kid, right, a Mars bar was 21 pence. They're about £1 now. Like, it's the same difference. It's mad. It's what we actually need is football fans to listen more to the economic and the financial experts like Kieran Maguire, like Dr. Rob, who will explain this to you. And then once you realize that there's nothing, it's just normal that the prices have gone to this level.
Yeah.
You stop stressing about it. Yeah, rival fans will throw it at you. So what? Grow a backbone, grow some thicker skin, be a man, be a woman, be a proper person, and ignore it. That's my view. I'm sorry, I'm ranting this morning because I'm not in a very good mood, but I'm just annoyed at these pathetic idiots.
Well, at least you got it off your chest now, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
I mean,
Sorry.
now the key thing is the goalkeeper. That's the, if Chilwell's has done as we all think it is, now it's the goalkeeper. Once we've done that, then
All right.
Yeah.
Gaze on a scale of 1 to 10, Rice, Chilwell, both being English, have triggered some. If you sign Nick Pope as well, what do you think the reaction's going to be? Will you get called Brexit FC? That's what I want to know. Will that come?
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
There we go, boys. I appreciate you all coming on, having your say this morning. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. They think Monday, Tuesday, the medical will happen. We're going to have Sam on the show Monday. We're going to sort out times and dates. Remember as well, next week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have Man Like Yan who's going to come on the show and do an interview with us. We're going to go through all the transfers with him. That's going to be exclusive to members first. So we'll go out for at least 12 hours prior for members first. So no one, not even the newspapers, are going to get to see what he's got to say before that. So make sure if you want to get that first, you sign up as a member. Please go into our description below and download Flick. Brilliant app. Get your Man United Seville predictions are now open on there as well. But listen, until next time, everyone, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye-bye.